What a day to be back to talk about the best of stories in the world of sports. It is Sports Central. And my name is Blyden Kim. The guys are already seated, ready for the talking point. The talking point are getting even more interesting. Looking forward to all the action that took place in the world of sports. One of the key talking points will be around the world of cricket. Nigeria qualifying for the Super 6, two groups in that direction, Group 1 and Group 2. Talking about a Super 6, one group contains 3 teams. It was a DLS structure measurement after the game was disrupted because of a weather that wasn't clement enough, but it's that conversation. The team has qualified. They'll be facing Ireland as well as England moving forward. It will be a talking point on the show. Whichever David, good morning. You saw the Champions League take place. Quite exciting. Earlier before the show, you guys talking about why City are flopping their lines, but it's part of the game anyway.
There's still a major statement that City are not yet back in contention for something big this season. And they stand, of course, a big chance of being eliminated just at the early stage of the UEFA Champions League. 25 now on the table. Recall that from the number 9 spot to the number 24 spot are the only players, or the teams rather, eligible for the playoffs. So if eventually, by the last game next week, playing Club Brugge and get to win and other teams get also to win their games, then we may likely see City being dumped out of the UEFA Champions League. Is that bad for them at the moment?
Bad for Manchester City and Fontaine. What's good?
Well, I think I still have bad news for Bayern Munich. Nobody seems to be talking about it. But yesterday they lost by 3 goals to 0 to a Dutch side. Feyenoord. Come on. Vincent Kompany, a lot was expected from this man when he was brought in to replace Thomas Tuchel, who actually took Bayern Munich to the semi-finals of the Champions League last season. The only thing that seems to be going well for him is that the fact that he's on top of the Bundesliga this ongoing season, where in the Champions League, Bayern Munich have been a shadow of themselves, losing to Aston Villa at the point and all of that. So I think at the moment, Vincent Kompany is going to be shaking in his boots.
Well, Vincent Kompany is going to be shaking in his boot. Fun says about it, but let's begin the show and talk about the world of cricket first. Afterwards, we're going to talk about football stories around the world. From the world of cricket, it started yesterday. Many games took place. The Under-19 T20 ICC World Cup. Team Nigeria played against South Africa, the last group game of the competition for them, but they lost a narrow loss for them, losing with 42 runs at the end of it. And it's that conversation, I'll call it the DSL structure that led to the loss. Well, we'll be having conversation about the World Cup and what the indices are looking forward to the next game. And the next game for Nigeria will be against England and Republic of Ireland. As we said to talk about it, non-funny Tina rather, if you're reading them joins the conversation this morning, if you're joins the conversation to talk about the world of cricket and under-19 cricket. If you're great, good morning.
Blyden, good morning. It's good to be on this show.
All right, so good to have you on the show. You saw the anticipation that took place at the Under-19 World Cup. Last week you were on this show. Was it last week or early this week? You were on the show and you said, forget about it, Nigeria will qualify for the Super 6. And here they are. But not just about Nigeria qualifying. We've seen the likes of Pakistan being booted out of the competition. Is that conversation? And you see some of the teams doing quite well. England also qualifying, Republic of Ireland, and two teams really stood out for many. I didn't know for you. South Africa played unbeaten through the group stages. Likewise, Australia being unbeaten in the group stages. What stood out for you?
I have to say the group stages was all about qualifying for the Super 6, and Nigeria did justice to that. The washout game between Nigeria and Samoa would have really helped Nigeria's chances of going to the semi-finals here, because as it stands, Nigeria has to win all their games in the Super 6, because if they don't, they will be knocked out. But then qualifying for the Super 6 is already an achievement by itself. As it stands, Nigeria are 4th ranked in the Super 6 because that game was washed out, and the United States have an advantage in terms of the net run rate. And then South Africa on top, England, which is Nigeria's next opponent, is going to be a very difficult match for Nigeria to play. It's similar to the South African game. They are head and shoulders above the level of Nigeria at the moment. But just being in the Super 6 is an achievement.
Just being in the Super 6 achievement, Funny thing, if you talks about it that way. But when he see it from different angles, you think they don't have a chance. Well, Fon will get to talk to you about it. But if let me still stick with you on this one now. You think they don't have a chance to qualify for the semi-finals of it? Let's look at the different groups, Group 1 and Group B, in this direction that has to do with Super 6 competition as a stand standings are the first group has different anticipation in it. We're looking at the first group of the Super 6. All right, the groups are complete now. Anyway, we have India on one hand, expanded group compared to what we have there. India on one hand, Australia women's under 19 on the other hand, Sri Lanka women under 19 number 3 position, and Bangladesh women and Scotland women under 19 and West Indies women under 19 in the second group. For the Super 6, we have South African women under 19, England women under 19, as well as US women, Nigeria women at number 4, Ireland women number 5, and New Zealand women number 6. So put us through the complexities of it, because what it means when we talk about DLS in that direction, because Nigeria qualified through that measure. What does it really indicate? Many people don't understand it.
I have to say Nigeria qualified for this World Cup because of the Duckwood-Lewis system, and kudos to the rain that happened in Rwanda. And I believe that that Sunday afternoon, rain fell everywhere in the world. It fell in Uyo, it fell in Benin, it fell in Manchester, because that was the day Tottenham were beating Manchester United 3-0 at Old Trafford. So it was raining everywhere, and the rain gods came to save Nigeria and make sure that we defeated Zimbabwe to qualify for the World Cup. But then in this competition, the gods of the rain have not really helped Nigeria. The first game against Samoa was washed out completely without a ball being bowled, which was a very big disadvantage for Nigeria. The second game against New Zealand, it was also rain affected, but then since the Duckwood-Lewis came into play, they had to shorten the overs to 13 overs. So when we talk about Duckwood-Lewis, once there's a weather issue, the overs will be shortened. But then if after a game has started and it rains, then they will calculate which team have an advantage in terms of number of runs or number of wickets taken. So as it stands, even the last game against South Africa, it was also shortened. So it's because of rain. And it seems the organizers of the competition didn't really factor in the timing of the weather in Malaysia. Don't think it will end this way. The best team in this World Cup may end up not being crowned champions because of the rain. So we might have a lot of games being affected by Duckwood-Lewis, which is DSL. So we have to wait to see. Nigeria might even qualify through that route as well, but we have to wait and see as well.
Many complications when it has to do with the world of cricket and the anticipation that joins it. Whatever, David, massive thought from you now. Despite the fact that you've met Nigerians not to be so happy, making us feel like there's no sense of thinking they can qualify to the semi-finals of it because they have to win all their games. But knowledge is good, giving it in perspective. Thank you for joining the conversation this morning. Well, if you're great enough, if you are there, a massive, massive conversation from you. Thank you for being a part of the conversation. Well, Utuba Devin Fonitina, we've heard if you're he let the cat out and he's saying, look, the team has been quite fortunate being here. First of all, qualifying for the World Cup. It took the rain and disruption of the rain for them to qualify for this World Cup, and getting to the World Cup, first game for them against Samoa, also the rain disrupted. Now, the rain that was in favor of them in the African qualifiers, it's against them at the World Cup because they could have gotten the better of Samoa, but it didn't happen. They pulled the draw in that one because the game was disrupted, and the same system being used to pull it in that direction. And similarly, after beating New Zealand, a close call it was against South Africa. Similarly, a shortened game it was, and the DLS system was used, and South Africa got a victory against Nigeria. No hopes for Nigeria. Sad news from Ifiok there.
Well, I think it's a bit complicated when it comes to cricket. It means that you could see a particular competition where at the end of it, what's the best team is going to come out winning on top, because it just matters. It boils down to who is in the lead at the moment when the weather starts changing. So I think it's not really a very good, way criteria to determine.
Is that something you like? Definitely.
It's not just about me liking it. It's not the best way to determine who wins something. So right. I just hope it's going to be in Nigeria's favor at the moment. But at the moment, it seems a little bit bleak for Nigerians. But just like the man Ifiok said there, I think it has really helped Nigeria coming to this stage. So we cannot now start at this stage to blame the weather that has been helping.
Good performance for Nigeria so far at the World Cup.
He said the rain helped us to beat New Zealand. So who knows, maybe we would have lost to New Zealand.
No, he's saying the rain wasn't in favor of Nigeria against Samoa. Nigeria played a full game against New Zealand, and not against South Africa. A similar story happened. That's why the victory is given to South Africa. We played a full game against New Zealand. Well, I know you want to have a bite on it, but we can't really look forward to talk more on this particular one.